And more breaking news this morning because according to some fantastic reporting from the Daily Caller, there is yet more trouble for the Clinton campaign this morning.
Well, that's exactly right. We saw, of course, an FBI probe into the security of Hillary Clinton's private server. Now, in 3 cities, according to new reporting, U.S. attorneys, in conjunction with the FBI, are investigating the activities of the Clinton Foundation, which, as you know, has been accused in recent months of basically selling access to foreign strongmen, to foreign governments, and those seeking to influence the U.S. government.
Right, so this is going on in 3 different cities, in Washington, D.C., and here in New York, and also in Little Rock, Arkansas, where the Clinton Foundation was launched in order to get the Clinton Library off the ground. But what does all this mean for Hillary Clinton and her future? Terry Turchi, a former deputy assistant director of the FBI, was on the program earlier and says this.
The email investigation, the first one, involved violations of the espionage statute. It pretty much centered on the idea of gross negligence and mishandling classified information. This is different in that this involves violations of the criminal statutes involving corruption, and you could look at a vast range of charges here. The other major difference here is that in the one case we talked about the emails. They were the case. In this instance, the emails might very well have the content that helps make the case. As opposed to the first email case, this is a series of crimes that involve specific intent.
Criminal corruption. We talked to Judge Jeanine Pirro yesterday on the show, and I asked her, when does this become illegal? She says it is already illegal. And the idea that you could fly Bill Clinton in, pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars for a speech, and then suddenly you're able to have access to meetings at the State Department a few weeks later after you've paid her husband hundreds of thousands of dollars or donated money to the Clinton Foundation.
What do you think is motivating these field offices, Tucker, and the FBI to do this? I mean, is it the meeting that Bill Clinton had with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac? Is that raising eyebrows? Since the DOJ in Washington, D.C. isn't doing this, they're reportedly going to?
There's just so much. I mean, the fact that an employee of Hillary Clinton's was working both for the State Department and for the Clinton Foundation and for a third group simultaneously is such an obvious conflict of interest, it's hard to believe it was allowed. Here's the tragedy. Hillary Clinton could get elected president, soon, in 90 days. If that happens, this stuff is not going to go away. The President of the United States will have her activities under scrutiny from the FBI. That's bad for America. The press should have been on this 15 years ago when it all began, but they kind of ignored it, and now, unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with the fruits of it.
I think you bring up a really great point, which is this is not about Hillary Clinton. It's bad for America because if she gets elected, and all the polls seem to be trending that way, right? She's double-digit leads in certain states right now. It's trouble for Donald Trump. If she gets elected, we saw what happened during the impeachment proceedings for Bill Clinton. Basically, the executive branch shut down for a few years. Nothing got done for a few years.
Well, but the media's
what does that do for patriotism, too? What does that do for the trust of the American people in the democratic process?
Right. When you're fighting legal battles and you're having to deal with this and she could be thrown out, who knows what this could lead to? And it's bad for the American people who are struggling to find work, jobs going overseas. It's bad for America.
Look, I'm a journalist. I look through it at that prism. This is our job, is to vet candidates before they get to this point. And I think Donald Trump should be vetted completely, by the way, and I think he is being. But Hillary Clinton, too. And this foundation is totally a pay-for-play deal. That's the way it seems to me, looking from the outside. Everyone has known that for 15 years, and nobody has really looked into it until now.
Hillary Clinton and her husband Bill are saying that's just a bunch of bunk, and also that Hillary Clinton never put Americans' national security at risk with that private email server. Bill Clinton says it's a whole bunch of bull. Listen.
First of all, the FBI director said when he testified before Congress, he had to amend his previous day statement that she had never received any emails marked classified. They saw 2 little notes with a C on it. This is the biggest load of bull I ever heard.
Look, the guy's got a right to defend. I defend my wife no matter what.
Right.
But he doesn't have a right to make up lies. And that's just a flat-out lie. At least it's a contradiction of what the FBI director said just the other day in a televised news conference when he said over 100 emails sent by Hillary Clinton or received by her had classified information in them. What did he think? What did Director Comey think when he watched the former president totally mischaracterize?
It's gutsy to drag his name into it.
It is gutsy. I agree with that. Or it takes, I don't know, or deeply dishonest.